All right, well, good evening, everyone. It is 5:48, and I wanted to thank everyone who is here this evening for the Planning Commission. And we do have some alternate members who will be voting this evening on both sides. And we are ready to begin with the approval of the minutes from June 7th, 2023. Do we have a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes for June 7th, 2023.
I'll second that motion.
Wonderful. With a motion and a second, let's take a vote. We'll start at this end.
Aye.
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 And with all ayes, that motion passed. Wonderful. Moving on to number 3, subdivision and land development. We're going to look at the final subdivision and land development plan for 640 South Franklin Street, which is part of Thaddeus Stevens by the ELA Group. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add something here.
Oh, sure.
Yes, Thaddeus Stevens Foundation is establishing a new property line by re-subdivision of 4 existing lots and constructing 2 semi-attached units. These units will be built by students as part of the school program. In addition, the developer requesting 2 modifications to defer the improvement on Stevens Ave and installing the required tree to a later stage of the site development. Thank you.
Perfect. And I believe we heard from you on May 17th with the preliminary, so we're
Yes.
excited to see you.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. We had submitted our sketch plans in April, so there's a slight pause between when we presented to you in May, but the plans essentially are the same. We've worked with Cody on street trees and some other items, but we basically have, the plans are in pretty good shape. I can run down through the list of items for which we have received our approvals, similar, a few more than what we had presented back in May. So sewer capacity approvals, sewer module approval from DEP, our water capacity approvals, traffic commission approval to close existing driveways down on South Franklin and for the 2 new driveways from these units up onto Stevens Avenue. Shade Tree Commission approval. We have worked and did discuss with Shade Tree to defer the trees that are along Stevens Avenue, for which Mandali mentioned the modification tonight, along with the street improvements for half of Stevens Avenue, as well as we discussed last time. We received a zoning special exception that related to those driveways being in the front yard of Stevens Avenue. We have 2 front yards actually on those lots. The addresses for the lots have also been approved, and they are noted on the current set of plans on the cover sheets. So those items have all been resolved. Essentially, the plan is the same. We meet the number of street tree requirements. We have worked with Cody on all the various species. So there was one request, the large existing tree in front of the unit there along Stevens Avenue was asked to make all efforts possible from the Shade Tree Commission to preserve that tree. So we will work with the site contractors and meet with Cody on site about that and make all efforts that we can while still installing our driveways to keep those to keep that tree viable. So beyond that, our plans are pretty straightforward. We do have the 2 modifications. One is section number 265-33 public streets, and that is the modification to defer those installed improvements on Stevens Avenue until such time as we come in with our next land development plan. And also at the same time, modification 265-33M4, which relates to deferring the installation of those street trees until the same time as when Stevens Avenue is installed as well, so we can properly get them in place. That's pretty much our plan. We're pretty straightforward, certainly open to any questions that there may be.
Does the Planning Commission have any questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Mhm.
And before my question, thank you for having a whole selection here of landscaping that not a single thing is non-native. So,
Thank Kyle.
good job, Kyle.
Yes.
Props to you. My only question is, if the maple tree is being requested kept, I understand there's stormwater running through the back, but is it possible to just flip the design essentially?
I'm not sure I understand your question. We still need to front, if you wanted us to flip and have access down to the South Franklin Street, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that just ran through my mind as like,
Yeah. It does not work. This plan is difficult to read on that aspect, but because of the way the site grades are, we actually, Stevens is higher, South Franklin is lower, so everything is naturally draining down towards the lower part of the site. So the drainage, stormwater is collected at the back of those units. There's a small inlet and some piping you see there that actually contains a swale, which directs the stormwater down into that detention basin, which is really an infiltration basin with amended soils. And so the long answer, we cannot just mirror image the plan because of the way the grades are. But
Okay.
it's a good idea.
Then my only other question, because I know that this is just one of what could be potentially many projects of this sort for this site. Has there been any discussion about shared driveways?
There has been a comment related to that, and we indicated that we would definitely look at that as consideration as we move forward. This particular plan has garages that they pull inside of with the way the architectural units are designed and laid out.
Okay.
So there's a space inside of an enclosed garage, and those plans were developed in that way with the whole footprint by the architectural students for Thaddeus on this specific building.
Okay.
So on this building, they were very separate for the conscious effort of the way the garages came, but we've understood the request from the city. We can certainly take that into consideration on future units.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay?
Any additional comments or questions from the Planning Commission? Any recommendations from city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, city staff recommends approving the final land development plan for 640 South Franklin Street with the requested modification, subject to the following conditions. The final plan and related construction document must comply with all city codes and standards unless specifically modified or waived by the city. All easements, agreements, and developers' agreement shall be submitted for review and recorded as part of the final plan recordation. The developer shall submit a financial guarantee in accordance with the approved opinion of probable cost. The probable cost shall be updated and accepted by city engineer. The developer shall address to the city's satisfaction all unsatisfied comments. The stormwater one, I would like to remove it, Mr. Chairman. The developer shall enter into a final developer agreement with the city. The developer's agreement shall include but not limited to the time frame for construction of Stevens Ave improvement.
One thing that was brought to our attention is on the original packet, stormwater flows onto adjacent properties shall not be created. That is struck from the,
Yes.
what we will enter into the record today.
Yes.
Any additional comments or concerns from the public? All right, well, hearing none, I would love to have a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the plan with the modifications mentioned and with the omission of the stormwater flows onto adjacent property noted in the recommendation by the city.
Do we have a second?
Yes, that recommendation has been, that particular recommendation has been removed. Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
All right. Let's bring that to vote.
Aye.
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 And it is unanimous.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your patience. Have a wonderful day. Okay, agenda item number 4. It appears that we do not have anything on the agenda for the redevelopment authority of the city of Lancaster for tonight. Do we have, under number 5, do we have anything for the comprehensive plan as
Mr.
informed?
Chairman, I don't have any update for comprehensive plan.
Okay. But I do believe we'll be looking forward to a lot the next couple months.
Yes.
So we'll rest up. Number 6, is there any other business from commission members?
Oh, man, the only thing I guess I want to take the time to ask you guys about, since we have had a brief meeting, is once we implement the comprehensive plan, I think we need to get an understanding of how we can enforce the plan as a commission. Like, that's one of our powers, is to vote for or against plans based off their, I'm going to use the word cohesion because I'm blanking, their cohesion with the comprehensive plan. I feel like it's been an issue we couldn't really take because our plan has been so out of date. But, I think the public would also be encouraged to know that we're utilizing the plan to ensure projects are in conformity with it. That's the word I was looking for, conformity.
Do we have any comment on that?
Sorry. I'm sure that for the next planning commission meeting, we will have a session about the planning comprehensive plan, and Mr. Smith will update you on that. And I think it will be a chance for the public to come to show up here and, provide their feedback, and also to learn from the comprehensive plan how we can, take it from the text into implementation.
That is an exciting part about what we get to do, because all that was fed into it, all the community engagement and input, and then you see it presented to the city as a whole, and now it gets to come back again right here in front of us, and we get to talk about it. So it is an exciting time, and I encourage everyone to please attend those next
Yes.
couple meetings. It's going to be a great time of input and listening and reflection. Any other business?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Members of the public? Well, we appreciate you coming out tonight. Nice short meeting on the summer solstice. I hope you enjoyed. At that, do we have a motion to make an adjournment?
I motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Let's hear it.
Aye.
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 All right, at 6:02, we adjourn the city